welcome to this quick little tutorial on pairing, one of the essential operations we do in applied behavior analysis and ABA. And I'm going to talk about what is pairing in this video, why it's useful, how to do it yourself, and where to go from there. So let's say that you have a child or student and they really like apples. The apple would be considered an unconditioned reinforcer. It's fun on its own. Your student is motivated, your student or child is motivated to earn this on its own. But what you want is for them to be motivated to earn this because, and I'm going to kind of get into number 2 a little bit here, why it's useful. But one reason that you might want to do this is because, you're going to be placing more and more demands on your child, and you don't necessarily want to have to increase the amount of reinforcer you're giving them, especially if it's like an unhealthy snack. So the tokens that you're going to pair with are a really good way to avoid having to use direct reinforcement, like giving the child the apple directly. So the token is going to be the conditioned reinforcer once we pair it with the unconditioned reinforcer. And right now, this is not fun on its own. It's only fun when associated. That's what pairing is. Pairing is associating things. It's making associations. So it's only fun when associated with a unconditioned reinforcer. You are. And that's what we're going to try to do, is make that association. So that's what pairing is. Pairing is that building of the association. And now let's get into how to do it. How do you build that association so that, your child sees the token and gets just as excited about that as they do about the fun snack they're going to earn? Well, it's actually the same way it kind of happened for all of us. Because think about it. We all use money and we all like money. Some of us like money a lot. Why do we like it so much? Because it's a generalized token that we can exchange for any reinforcement we might want in the future. And so that's another reason why this is useful. You can actually build a system, like a little economy in your classroom or in your home, that sort of models the real world, where your child is earning tokens and exchanging those tokens for maybe a variety of reinforcers. Maybe there's apples, bananas, and pears, and you can price them all a little bit differently, and then your student can weigh out how many tokens do I feel like giving up for one of these versus one of these, and start to learn some of that decision making. So it's useful for a lot of reasons. One, it gets your student away from needing the direct reinforcement every time, and two, it can help to teach money skills, counting skills, saving skills, budgeting skills, things like that, and comparing the cost of things like that. So let's get into how to do it. And it's, like I said, the way that we all do it is just by seeing them side by side. So when we were kids, we all had our first time that our parents maybe gave us a quarter or something to go buy a gumball from the store. And we did that a few times. What we're going to do is we're going to fast track that. And you are just going to, while your child is playing or just doing something fun, not working, when your child is not working, because we want this to be as reinforcing as possible at first. So you want to place it in a low demand environment and just give them a quarter. And you want to make sure that when you give them your quarter, you say whatever you usually say when you give them their favorite snack. You might say, "Good job," because we want to pair all of the types of reinforcement that we can to this quarter. We're pairing the verbal praise. This is verbal reinforcement. And we're pairing something a little bit more tangible here. This is what we call a tangible. And these are two different types of reinforcements. Verbal, the type of reinforcement is attention. I'll just write that up here. But anyway, we're going to give the student or child a quarter, say "good job," and then immediately have them give us that quarter back and give them the piece of apple as the reward. And again, you're saying good job for like no reason really. Like they're not doing any work right now. They're just playing and having fun. Obviously, don't do this if they're doing something bad that they shouldn't do, because you will be reinforcing a little bit of whatever behavior they're doing. But the point of this is not to reinforce behavior. This process is just to build the connection between the quarter and the apple. And so you just give them the quarter and you immediately say, hey, good job, give them the quarter. Now give me that quarter back and here's your apple. And you want it to be fast. That's the point of this. You want it to be fast. There's this term in behavior called latency. I mean, it's not just in behavior. Latency is the time delay between two stimuli. And so you want this stimulus, the coin, to be as low. We want low latency, a very short time between the coin and all the other stuff, the good job in the apple. So this should be pretty much as fast as you can do it. Just give them the quarter, and immediately when they give you the quarter, you give them the apple. Make it as quick as possible, as seamless as possible, and make sure you repeat a bunch of times. It can take, up to maybe, for some people, it takes a little bit longer than others. So it could probably take up to, I want to say in my experience, 50 plus trials is like the upper range, but I'd say usually these connections get made pretty quickly, somewhere in the 20 to 30 trial range. Maybe they make the connection a little bit faster, but if you keep doing this, they will make that connection. And once they do make that connection, having the coin given to them will start to be fun on its own. Just like how the apple was fun on its own, this wasn't until we made that pairing. Now, where do you go from here? Well, once you have this pairing, now you can start to use this as your reinforcer during work. So now when they get a question right, you say good job, and you give them the quarter, and they can choose to give that right back to you and get the apple right away, or they can hold on to it and save it for later. It gives them a little bit more options, Not only that, but now you can start to get to the point where maybe they've been earning the quarter for a while. Now they earn a nickel every time they get a question right. And it takes 5 nickels to get a quarter. So now you're increasing the demands while keeping, they're not going to earn a lot more reinforcer this way because they have to earn all these tokens first. And you're the one who sets the demand on what they, how much work it is to earn each token. Keep in mind your child or student's idiosyncrasies, how much they generally are used to working for reinforcement. And what you want to try to do is give as little reinforcement for as much work as possible. And this is a great way to get there. And that might sound like, why would I want to give my student as little reinforcement as possible? The reason for that is you want to not let them get satiated too quickly. Satiated means that you're good. You're all good on that. If you've had 100 apples, you're probably not going to be very motivated to get the 101st apple because you're probably going to be super duper full or satiated. And this giving less reinforcer increases motivation. The more satiated you are, the more motivation goes down. And you want motivation to stay up. You don't want it to go down. So you want your student to be earning these reinforcers, but you don't want them to earn it so much they get satiated. And that's the balance you try to strike. There's a little bit of an art to this science. In any science that works with humans, especially behavior, you have to weigh a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you're weighing, all the individual characteristics of your student. So keep in mind their pace, the pace that they go at, and just be patient with this process. If you take your time with it, I promise you it will work. We've done, this is the one of the most basic forms of learning that we do with everyone. All right, I'm trying to think of more things to say, but I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time.